welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18-hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. This is the only daily MSME platform in the country, a show where you can voice your concerns and get answers to all your queries directly from our team of experts. We understand that issues that you face, and this show aims to really bring you the most relevant as well as the most updated information on everything related to your businesses. Tonight, we're talking about the handicraft industry and how traditional is becoming the new modern, and joining us on the panel to discuss just that from Delhi Fest is Sahil Gohil. He's the founder and CEO of Craftly. Also from our Bombay studio, we're being joined by Arvind Sinha. He's the president of the Textile Association of India, and Hitesh Kinchali. He's the founder of Desi Hangover, also here in our Mumbai studios. Gentlemen, thank you all very much for being with us here tonight on the Leaders of Tomorrow. And maybe I can start with the entrepreneur who's on the panel and ask you to kind of run our viewers through the thought process behind the starting of your company.
So, my startup with the name the Desi Hangover. I was in my third year college. To talk a little bit about the story, you understand the background. So, I had gotten an internship to Cairo, and my dad had given me a local Kolhapuri chapel to wear. And I was taking an intern. I was with a lot of other interns, and they really liked the footwear, which just got me into thinking that, there's a little global demand for such concept, but somehow back home, we don't really give it, a thought process in terms of it actually has a value. So when I came back, I started researching on the grounds of what can be done to get these products globally. So I just started researching, and during my research period, I got to know that there are a lot of these artisans that are literally dying out. And I never really thought to start as a business. But when I went through these local areas, I realized the kind of potential this has. And there were a few things that were missing. There's no quality, no innovation, no branding. And that is what Desi Hangover basically does, is empowers the artisan in a modern way so that they can make products which are global.
All right, so that's an interesting, story behind the Desi Hangover. But let's broad base this discussion, Mr. Sinha, and I want you to come in at this point and talk to our viewers about what, in your opinion, are some of the biggest opportunities. Let's start there. Let's start on an optimistic note and talk about the biggest opportunities. The government, of course, on its part is going all out to talk about Skill India. It's talking about skilling. It's talking about, manufacturing in India, make in India, for example. So let's talk about how our MSMEs who are in this space can perhaps tap these opportunities.
See, opportunities are tremendous. And today we are into a situation where world is a market for us. I think we should follow that model what China has followed for so many years. Whatever you are manufacturing, wherever you are manufacturing, any corner of the world, it has a reach which can make you reach to the best of the people. You can have best of the prices. But when we are talking about various models of Skill India, Make in India, I would like to add on my own marketing of India. It is a very, very essential that people living in various parts of the world, they must come very fast when they are searching on the net or etc. that what kind of product from where to buy and how to buy and how to reach there, how to safeguard their investments in India. India provides a very big market, very good scope, and now if you use the local technology, the new technology available, if there are areas, clusters can be created where you have 100 people working, and if some modern machines can come in, this will do a great job. And that is what is the model which is successful globally. We have already seen success in China, we have seen success in Korea, and now we are seeing success in Myanmar, which has come up in last few years' time and doing very well. These are the models should be followed in India now.
Sahil, so since we're talking about entrepreneurial journey, let me ask you to come in and talk about, really the thought process behind setting up of Craftly.
Sunanda, basically we've been in the seller enablement space for over 4 years now. And we started our journey with powering a lot of the SMB and slightly larger SMB businesses by taking them online with their own website, also powered with logistics and payments. But very soon we realized that there's a big base of micro SMBs, homepreneurs, individual sellers from all parts of the country who today do not have a proper way of getting online. And what we realized is that the current ecosystem and the tools that exist out there just aren't good enough to get these people online, whether be it problems with digitization of their catalog, whether be it problems with getting easy payments, access to logistics, cash on delivery, whatever be the case, the current ecosystem just wasn't supportive enough of getting the smaller sellers online. So what we kind of realized is, what were the few things going well in the country and what's really fueled MSME growth in the last 3 or 4 years. I think the clear unanimous answer was the internet, obviously. E-commerce is at the same time being growing at a very, very fast pace in India as well. And in the last few years, the advent of the sub $100 mobile device, I think these three things come together to kind of really provide a unique opportunity for the MSME base for the Indian country. And we basically launched our product with the mobile first kind of a model where we said, well, it should be as easy as sending a picture on WhatsApp, and that's what anybody can pick up and use and get online in under 5 minutes. Set up their shop, take their product pictures, and they're live and they're instantly set up and ready to go. Right? So that's kind of what we were trying to play with, and we've actually seen a great uptake since we launched about a year ago.
So let's talk about technology. One of the things that I picked up from what you just said, and how technology can be a great leveler for MSMEs and startups, but it also ensures that small companies are competing with larger peers. So one, how have you used technology at your company? And two, what advice do you have for MSMEs and startups about how they can go about taking on such competition?
I think most of the companies, when they start out, rather than focusing on marketing or branding, first have a very good product. A very good product can only come through great technology at this point of time. In our industry, which is a shoe industry, which is devoid of technology, especially in the rural areas, our main focus has always been getting the right product. Spend 80% of your energy in the initial 2 years into the product. Once your product is worth appreciating, the market is going to buy. And that is where you should start marketing, and technology is the core of the entire industry, and technology should go in hand with your product, and then that can do wonders for any company.
What would your advice be about how to take on competition? Because technology, of course, is going to ensure you're competing not just with someone in your neighborhood, but also perhaps someone overseas.
See, in my opinion, there is no competition. I will very proudly and very boldly say there is no competition. It is like we are sitting in an ocean. You have so much of water, whatever capacity you have, you drink according to your capacity. And I am a very strong believer that when you take world as a market, whatever you are making, it is sellable. Only thing is, we have to gear ourselves, the people have to gear themselves, and you should have an approach. There is innovation, it should be a day-to-day job now, innovation. Every day when you get up, you should find out what you are going to do. But there are no hang-ups, no restrictions for you to excel your business. It is up to you what you want to do. And the world is providing you opportunity in such a huge affair with 7 billion people all over the world. There is somebody or the other who is ready to buy your product. You have to follow the supply chain. You have to reach there. You have to again follow the money chain, how the money can come. And now with this so much of e-commerce coming in, there is a tremendous opportunity. So nobody can complain that I am making this, I am not selling it. If I am not selling it, then there is something is wrong with me.
Sahil, Mr. Sinha says there's no real competition. He says, and that's a very interesting take. He's saying that don't worry so much about competition because there is no competition. Each person has a unique product. There are so many people out there. There's a huge market out there. Focus on that. Would you agree?
I actually totally agree with Mr. Sinha there, and there are 2 or 3 reasons I believe that to be true. So first of all, the consumer population, at least on our platform, that's buying the most are people, mostly majority of those people are between 18 to 28 years of age. Now at that age group, and that is actually a pretty big part of the country's population anyway, a lot of this age group of users are very, very concerned about sort of being expressive, right? I think, going back a couple of decades, I think we were more into standardized products, quality, etc. I think now people kind of want to define their own personality. They want to be able to express themselves, and which is why I do believe that having unique products and having a niche of each one's own personality is important. Now, there's obviously pools of buyers and pools of sellers, that need to be connected so that the demand gap can be closed, so to speak. But I totally agree. I think the demand is humongous. It exists out there. A lot of it is happening offline through middlemen, through the current offline supply chain. But I believe a lot of efficiency can be brought into this, overall boosting the sector.
All right, gentlemen, do hold that thought. Let's take a very quick break on that note, but much more on the other side. We'll continue talking about the issues that you, the MSME entrepreneur in the handicraft space, should know and should keep an eye on. Welcome back. You're with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're talking about the handicraft industry and how the traditional is becoming the new modern. The MSMEs who write into us say that they're facing, huge challenge, especially as far as the ROI goes, because of cheap imports that are coming in, particularly say from China. And this, I assume, is true also of this industry. So then, how do you take on something like that where it's a direct hit on your margins because you can't sell below a particular price?
You see, we cannot, this situation will continue. And this is the moral of the day. China cannot be avoided. China is, see, like I'll give example. During this Diwali, there have been a systematic approach where you are saying don't buy Chinese diya, don't buy Chinese electric fittings and all, But the goods are so much. If we are not buying them, then what we are buying? I could hardly find, the diyas made in India in that kind of volume. So China is going to be there, and we have to live with that. But there is globally, there is a segment which is dealing with China and which is ready to deal with India. No issues at all. Even if you go to South Africa, even you go to America, everywhere. Now there is a very clear segment, people who are dealing with China day in, day out, they are ready to deal with India. They are ready to pay a little higher price. So it is not that the Chinese goods are selling at $1, they are expecting us also at $1, because China is a big production facility, which India is very difficult for India to match in coming years. So China will remain and we will also remain, but as I said little while ago, it's a huge market. People have to walk out. People have to go out and do a bit of a struggle, bit of a planning, bit of a innovation to reach there.
Would you agree then? It's a price, it's not a war fought on price, but it's a war fought on quality?
Definitely. I think most of the foreign crowd, if they see India in terms of handicrafts, they actually understand what a handicraft is. If you're targeting handicraft market, it is primarily outside India. You might have to have a good presence in India, but you have to go outside. For example, with AC Hango shoes, if you sell for $50 in India, they find it expensive. But the same shoe is easily bought for $200 because they appreciate. So I think the Chinese concept is valid, but it depends on how are you making your product sell in terms of the quality. As I said, if you're giving the customer what he wants, I think price is very secondary.
Sahil, Hitesh just made a point about how one should focus more on quality, says don't get thrown by the fact that there could be possibly cheaper imports coming in from other countries, particularly China, but focus on your quality, and that's what's really going to stand you instead in the long run. Would you agree with that?
So I think the answer really is it depends, right? It depends on the product, it depends on what's being talked about. If we talk about a consumer product, which is something you wear or an accessory you dress up with, I do agree that quality is important, but not at a price point which, there is a certain willingness to pay in each consumer. So for the economics to work, right, the price has to be such that consumers are willing to pay that price. Now, one could say that, well, it can't be sold cheaper than this or can't be sold higher than this, and I think that is the point where one has to price themselves at. So I think its quality is definitely important, but if it leads to a price point which is not going to work, then there is no business eventually.
So even as we're talking about, of course, how e-commerce and technology can provide a great platform to sell your products, is also a great platform to help you market and build a brand for yourself. I want to talk about what the government is doing. For example, it is promoting a lot of the traditional industries, traditional handicrafts, traditional materials. It had this entire Khadi week, for example. But my question to you, Mr. Sinha, is that enough? If not, what more specifically would you like to see on the part of the government?
See, what government is doing, perfectly all right. Government is doing a very great job, but the business model has to come from the bottom. The people who are, if I am a manufacturer, I have to find out my product, I have to place my product, I have to popularize my product, and now these days this is very easy because of the arrival of e-commerce Every e-commerce is hard pressed to get more and more people, more and more hits every day. So they are on a lookout. If you see, say for example, eBay or Amazon and all, they talk about 9 crore products, 6 crore products and all. So today there is a scope for everybody. Only thing is, you have to wake up. The business is not like what we used to do 10 years ago. It is, those models are no more valid. These are the new models, and there is a lot of technology support which can come in, and but it is expensive. So what can happen is, let there be a cluster of say 100 people, invest on the technology, take the help of technology, and start making very different kind of dolls. My question would be, why can't we make Japanese doll in India? Let there be Indian woman in style, and this will definitely sell worldwide. Lot of things can happen. Traditionally also, textile provides a very good scope. Like if you go to Banaras and all, you will find lot of foreigners going around in the streets, going and seeing the handlooms and buying the fabrics. There are designers coming from Paris and all. So there is a demand for India. Now we have to gear ourselves, and we also have to gear ourselves for a volume game.
Even as we're looking to the future, we're of course talking about the kind of changes perhaps that one needs to see here in the Indian environment to really support the handicrafts industry. Sahil, Mr. Sinha was talking, for example, about the regulatory framework, what kind of changes, marketing and branding, etc., needs to be put in place. If there are any specific changes you'd want to see from an industry point of view to help this industry grow, what would it be?
See, coming from the e-commerce sector, I do believe that logistics and IT or internet enablement is a must, right? Those are really the two key pillars, right? Everyone talks about user acquisition and marketing. I don't think that is the key problem, because that is the power of the internet, right? When you have an aggregation of products in one place, user acquisition is not the real challenge. The real challenge is in the ability for the smaller seller to be able to ship their product, package their product, understand how to price the product, right? It's the ability to be able to catalog their product easily, right? So I think those are things that need to change, and regulation I think can definitely help. I still believe that a lot of our economy is still run by males. I still believe in the MSME segment there's a ton of women, right? 50% of the sellers, for example, that work with us are women. They're women entrepreneurs who are either working from home or working from a small outfit, and I believe there has to be gender parity, and I don't know if that can be helped by regulation, but that really brings in a whole plethora of new angles of new products, and I think that is a must for this to progress moving forward. And obviously, like I said, if there is a way to get a ton of these MSMEs IT enabled, and when I say IT, I literally mean mobile and data, right? I think that is a key big differentiator that can really help drive this market forward.
I want to talk about innovation really, and I want to ask the two of you this. Do we see enough innovation that's really happening as far as the traditional MSMEs are concerned when it comes to this industries? And if not, one or two tips that you would have for entrepreneurs and MSMEs about how they should necessarily innovate. Where do they start?
I think most of the companies right now focus more on selling. They're on marketplaces, they just want to sell. But the problem is, you're not understanding what you're selling. So enough innovation has to be done on the product. At the end, it's the product that sells. Everything is a process which helps the product to be sold. So you have to really work on the product, and innovation has to go there. And concepts like Make in India are actually putting global attention to our products, not the processes. So any company should be focusing on the product and putting more innovation quality onto the core. So I think there most of the companies are probably heading in the wrong direction, but I'm sure that they'll get back to the track.
Okay. Do you want to add to that?
See, we have a great example, Mr. Modi's jacket. Today, every second, third man is wearing that jacket, and the amount of designing, the kind of fabrics you are seeing there is unbelievable. And because of these things, and now the marriage dresses, you have Manevar and couple of other people. My God, the whole designing is totally changed, and this is because of innovation. Because very brilliant designers are sitting there, they are sourcing their own fabrics and all. These are the examples which I would like to give. So everywhere there is a tremendous scope of innovation. Like I have a world record on the lapel pins, and if you go to America and various other places, you will see people wearing the pin "Liberate Kuwait" or "Down with Saddam." This is all innovation. So this innovation is like, today I am doing 10 things, so tomorrow I am going to do 11th. Next day I am going to do 13th. So this has to go in our heart. that we have to live with this attitude of innovation,
Sure.
which is partly missing in our system.
All right, it's been interesting. I know there's a long way to go as far as handicrafts are concerned, but maybe I can get quick closing comments. Let me start with you, Mr. Sinha. If there's one thing that you would advise for our viewers in terms of taking their traditional handicrafts-based business, either pan-India or global, what would your advice be?
I'll advise buy Indian goods. In the festival like Diwali and all, use Indian handicrafts. Whenever I travel abroad, whatever I am gifting, it is always Indian, and people appreciate. Like one of the favorite gift is Ganpati. I call it a lot of prosperity. I must have distributed few thousand Ganpatis to my overseas friends. People like it. And then wherever, if you are doing this, like I have some artists who are giving me very high quality Ganpatis, I am always telling them to improve. Suppose I am buying something for 200 rupees now. I ask him, okay, if I give you 300 rupees, what you can make? This is how this model has to go, and there is a lot of strength we all have together, and that strength has to be exploited, and each of us has to work together. Price, etc., these are all secondary things now, in my opinion. People are not bothered about the price. If you are giving a good quality, everybody is looking for value for money. That is the model of the day.
All right. I want to ask you about one piece of advice you've possibly received in your professional career, which has maybe changed the way you think about your business.
I think I might be repetitive, but the whole idea, you should understand your core. If you don't understand what you're doing, there's no point marketing. So you should really focus on the strengths that you have. Today we export to 6 countries, and trust me, all of the exports have come from the other side. We've never cold called anyone because we've always believed in what we do, in the product. So I think that is the best advice I've got, and have really worked for us.
All right, Sahil, then let me give you the last word in terms of the closing comments here on this panel on the handicrafts industry. One piece of advice you've perhaps received in your professional career that's changed the way you think about your business, and what advice would you have?
One of the things is to be very, very cognizant about cost, right? There's a lot of sort of discussion on e-commerce and how it's being playing out, etc. And I think having a sound business model, with very, very tight unit economics, I think those are really important before one goes ahead and presses the pedal on anything. And that's one really good piece of advice I've received in at least my entrepreneurial career.
Do remember that if you have a business that wants to be featured here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and you have any questions about any aspects of your business, you can always write in to us at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. You can personally tweet at me at Sunanda_J. You can reach us on social media using the handle LOT, or you can call us on that number that you see flashing on your screen. We promise to have all your queries answered. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.